महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम नारायण नारायण नारायण। ಇವತ್ತು okay, today is Friday. We do Sugama. So Purva Pakshi completed his argument, and in his argument he said no anyonya adhyasa is possible. But we can only say, Purva Pakshi continues, that Atma is using the body, though body exists on its own, still Atma is connected with the body. Atma uses the body, that's all it is. There is no adhyasta. Ultimately he made his own conclusion, because he found fault with Siddhanti's idea of Atma is adhyasta, Anatma is adhyasta, body is only adhyasta, and within adhyasa all vyavahara takes place. He says, now to this Purva Pakshi told, no, adhyasa is not there, not required. Okay, his idea is neither adhyasa is there nor required. Because he has given various arguments. Now I don't want to go into those arguments in detail, but we will discuss how far his arguments are true. Okay, we shall discuss how far his arguments are true. Now Siddhanti atra uchyate, those who are referring the book, 65th page, sarvamevedam ayuktam. Now Siddhanti is refuting Purva Pakshi's arguments, saying that all that you have told so far is not acceptable. Ayuktam means it is illogical, it's not proper, it's not right. Why? Now he takes one by one argument and refutes. First argument is yattavad uchyate. Purva Pakshi told that dehader anyonya adhyasaya ubhayorapi asatva prasangaha iti. First point, Siddhanti is replying. First, what was the first point of Purva Pakshi? If there is mutual superimposition between Atma and Anatma, then it would imply that neither Atma exists nor Anatma exists in reality. Atma appears, Purva Pakshi continuing, Atma appears only in the wake of adhyasa. Anatma also appears only in the wake of adhyasa. In the wake of adhyasa means both are wrong perceptions. Then ultimately what is reality? If Anatma, that is body, is a misperception, and Atma is also misperception, then what exists actually? Then there will be only Shunyavada. This was the Purva Pakshi's objection. Therefore, Purva Pakshi told that you can't say that both are superimposed. But in contrast with it, Purva Pakshi told both are real, both are not superimposed. Purva Pakshi went to the another extreme. It looks wrong. According to Purva Pakshi, Atma being adhyasta looks wrong, and Anatma also being adhyasta is a wrong, because both are existing independently. Therefore he told no adhyasa. To this Siddhanti replies, tadasat asangatvad atmanaha. Atma is always asanga. Atma is unattached, in the sense सर्वसंगरहितः खलु आत्मा इष्यते न च तस्य अध्यासमात्रेण असत्वं प्रसञ्जयितुं शक्यते. Atma by its nature is asanga. Asanga means neither it is involved with something, neither it is really connected with something, associated, connected, involved, nor you can bring any anatma in its contact. You can't bring anatma into its contact. Atma by its very nature is ever pure and untouched by anything. It is like, I give you two examples, like the surface of the mirror. Surface of the mirror. So anything reflects in the mirror. Nothing can really color the surface of the mirror. Can anything that reflects in the mirror pollute the mirror, color the mirror, dirty the mirror? Whatever that reflects, whatever is reflected in the mirror, can it ever make the mirror dirty? How beautiful example it is. Can anything dirty the space, that is the sky? The space remains ever untouched because nothing can be attached, nothing can be stuck. You can't stick anything to the sky. Similarly, anything that reflects that anything that is reflected in the mirror cannot enter into mirror, nor it can touch the mirror. Okay, it cannot touch the mirror. It can't enter into the mirror. It just appears there. In spite of its appearance, what appears there? Space appears, objects appear, human beings appear, their activities appear, but all of them, all those reflections, all those reflections that appear in the mirror can never touch the mirror. So Atma is asanga like that. So the Chaitanya Atma, in fact, Atma is Chaitanyam alone. Calling Chaitanya Atma is unnecessary repetition. It is redundant because it is the Chaitanyam alone that is Atma. Yet we call Chaitanya Atma because generally people are found to be taking body as the Atma, mind as the Atma. Therefore, to distinguish this mistaken Atma, to distinguish the real Atma from this mistaken Atma, we say Chaitanya Atma. Okay? So Chaitanya Atma is always untouched. This asangatvam is a beautiful point. Atma by its very nature is asanga. Atma by its very nature asanga. Asanga means untouchable, uninvolved. Nothing can be attached with it, nothing can be connected with it. So from its standpoint, see now how the reflection of any object appears in the mirror. How do you say the mirror remains untouched by any reflection? How do you say anything, the mirror remains untouched by anything that appears within the mirror? The objects are within the mirror, yet mirror remains untouched. That's because from the standpoint of mirror, the reflected objects, the reflections don't exist. The reflected objects don't exist from the standpoint of mirror because they are only appearing, but mirror remains ever the mirror. Mirror alone remains. If you see the flowers or the cloth or anything in the mirror, they won't touch the mirror at all. Similarly, or take another example, all the dream objects do not stick to the Atman. Whatever experiences you undergo during the dream, all those things do not touch the surface of Atman. like a surface of the mirror. So all the objects, experiences, events that appear during the dream do not touch the consciousness, do not touch the Chaitanya Atma. Chaitanya Atma ever remains untouched, unaffected. Similarly, waking also is like another dream. So the waking events, waking objects, waking people, waking experiences do not touch the consciousness because they are all reflections within the consciousness. Not literally, similar to reflections. The waking objects are similar to the reflected things in the mirror. Therefore, just as a river mirror remains untouched, unaffected, similarly, Chaitanya Atma ever remains pure, untouched, unaffected, always the same, untouched, unaffected. It never becomes impure, never becomes polluted. Therefore, asangatvad atmanaha. Atma by its very nature ever pure. This is important. Means in our core, our real nature of Atma is ever pure. In spite of your body, mind and sense organs, still the Atma in its real nature remains untouched by all these things. Sarvasanga rahitaha khalu Atma ishyate. The ishyate means that's what is accepted. Upanishads say, Jnani's Anubhava says, Jnani's Anubhava says, and even if we look at ourselves, the wakeful consciousness or the wakefulness, however long time you remain in your wakeful consciousness, the wakefulness which is consciousness never gets touched by, never gets influenced by the waking objects and experiences, isn't it? Like dream objects and dream experiences. Do the dream objects and experiences touch the consciousness? Do you feel ever that the Chaitanyam is painful? Consciousness becomes painful. Consciousness never becomes painful. Pain is known in the consciousness, but consciousness doesn't become painful. See the point. The pain is known to consciousness, but consciousness itself is not pain. Why? Because the very nature of consciousness is just to be aware of. Since it is not touched by the pain and the pleasure, it is always happy on its own, independent, fearless Atma. Therefore, sarvasangarahitaha khalu Atma ishyate. The Atma is sarvasangarahitaha. That means it is not connected with anything in any manner for any time. In any manner, any time, ever. Atma ever remains pure and Chaitanya Rupam. Nacha tasya adhyasa matrena asatvam prasanjayitum shakyate. An Atma by its very nature, pure and untouched, uninvolved, unconnected. If such an Atma is misunderstood to be connected with the body. See, if a pure object like mirror, take the same very example of a mirror. You see the flowers in the mirror, reflected in the mirror. So the flowers are there on the wall. Here you see the mirror. In the mirror, those objects are appearing in the mirror here. So the mirror looks colored. So as it looks colored by the cloth or the flowers, does the mirror really get colored? In spite of its appearance, in spite of appearance of color, it doesn't get colored. See how strange it is. It appears there. See, I am seeing here. See, in the cell phone, I see my cloth. This saffron cloth, ochre robe they call them. This ochre robe, ochre color, kashaya color, I see in the cell phone here. See both the phones. This is the Facebook and this is the YouTube. Okay, YouTube recording only, not live. Is only recording. YouTube recording, and this is recordings. Let us say simply that is a recording, and this is a Facebook. Two things I see here. I see the colors. I see my face. I see this wall. See, I see this my danda. Everything I see here. I see Shankaracharya's photo, Swamiji's photo, everything here. The wall I see. I see this my back. Everything I see here. So, does the cell phone, does the surface of the cell phone get connected? But I see the things so clearly. See, I am seeing my own face. See, I am speaking here, this wall and everything I see here. My book and pen and everything I see here. I see them as if it really existing there. But do they really exist in the cell phone? Do they really exist in the cell phone? Does it color the cell phone? They are only simple, the film example, the TV example, or even the cell phone example. Earlier they were giving mirror example and dream example, previous days, ancient days. Because mirror was well known. Reflection is well known. Later, film came, our screen in the film theater. All the things appear, but in the screen remains ever untouched by all the people. People appear on the screen, but the screen remains ever untouched. Strange. You see them live, people talking, walking, doing everything, but screen remains ever untouched. Similarly, TV screen also. Then later TVs came. So TV becomes a very good example. When I used to watch the TV, in the long before, when was that, in 70s, early 70s when the TVs came, I used to think, my God, how it is easy. Everybody will become Vedantin. After seeing TV, will anybody remain without becoming Vedantin? Things appear, but it is a surprising, nothing is there. Oh, all this world is like that alone. Then I say, oh, whoever brought the TV, my God, he is teaching Vedanta. I used to think like that. Whoever created the TV and whoever watches the TV in his life, he'll become Vedantin. Hey, they are making everybody sannyasis. I used to think that. Everybody will become sannyasi if they watch TV. But later I found nobody becomes. All watch TV, but nobody becomes sannyasi. So, they see them, but they never look at it. They never understand it in that way. I used to think, my God, this TV is brought. Earlier days, they were giving example of mirror reflection. Reflection in the mirror. To help people understand how the mirror is asanga. Now the TV screen has come. Even that is, TV screen is gone. Now the latest is cell phone. Now I am seeing here right in front of me. Cell phone is in your hand. You see any time, 24 hours you can see. Some people keep it by the bedside also during sleep in the night. So that probably they want to see the cell phone in their dream. I don't know. But anyway, even if they want to see, can they carry the waking? Can they carry this waking cell phone into dream? That's impossible. So then why do they keep the cell phone by the side of bed while sleeping? It's very harmful. Nobody should keep it at a distance. So the cell phones are available with us all the time, 24 hours. You can see the reflection, everything there, but nothing is there. Similarly, Atma, just as the cell phone screen remains untouched, TV screen remains untouched, film screen remains untouched. Similarly, Atma remains ever asanga. See, while looking at the TV screen or even the cell phone screen, you are all watching. I hope you are watching. Probably some people may listen only sound and put away the cell phone somewhere, or switch off the video and may watch only sound. I don't know. Suppose you are watching the picture also. You are seeing this picture. But the surface of the cell phone, that is the screen becomes the person. Person becomes the screen. Now, do you see the screen independent of person? Independent of this picture, this wall and all this? Wall and window and all this? No. That means that the cell phone screen is totally become part of this person who is appearing. Cell phone screen becomes a part of it. That means adhyasa. The cell phone screen is adhyasta upon the person. Adhyasta means he is not seen separately, he becomes one with the person. Cell phone screen is appearing like this picture. Picture means all these things. These things appear on the screen. The screen appears as a person and the wall and all this. This is called adhyasa. Now, adhyasa means only wrong perception. Okay. Adhyasa means wrong perception. Now, Swamiji says here, Nacha adhyasa matrena. By mere adhyasa matrena. Just because there is a false appearance. By a false appearance. The wrong perception. Or let us say just wrong perception. Why say wrong? Simply say perception. Simply by perception, asatvam tasya adhyasa matrena asatvam prasanjayitum shakyam. Atma, here it is a very, very important point to note it. When Atma is superimposed upon the body, merely on account of this reason, that Atma is found to be in the body. Now, when you look at the body, when you are sitting here, talking, eating, doing all those things, what do you feel? You feel I am the body. When you say I am the body is superimposed on the Atma. Not only this, but also Atma is superimposed on the body. Because when you look at the body, you say, I am a human being. I am here. I am sitting. I am speaking. Or I am listening. I am sitting here. I am listening. I am speaking. When you say, I am sitting here, I am here, who is that I am? Who is here? One who is here, who is that? Is that the consciousness or is that the body? It is body. Obviously, it is body. When I say I am here, one who is here is obviously body, but I take body to be myself. Therefore, I say I am here, I am sitting, I am talking. That's because Atma is superimposed upon the body. So, the very nature of the body, Atma is superimposed upon the body. Therefore, body appears as me. I appear as a body, let us say like this. I appear as a body. When Atma is superimposed, Atma appears as body. Okay. If body is superimposed upon the Atma, body appears as Atma. Body appears as Atma. Atma appears as body. Both the sides. That means they are one. Body, Atma, though we say body appears as Atma, Atma appears as a body, don't see them as two. In your experience, body and Atma are inseparable. Both are used as synonyms for the one thing. I am here. That means what? The here is body. I am is the consciousness Atma. So the Atma is equated with the body. That means there is no difference between Atma and the body. They become one. So during that experience, you can't see the Atma independent of the body. Therefore, adhyasa matrena, just because Atma is superimposed upon the body, Atma cannot be called non-existent. This is important. asatvam prasanjayitum shakyate. Atma cannot be called non-existent just because it is superimposed upon the body. So there is two. Atma in its real nature is not superimposed. That means is not equal to body. Superimposed means Atma is not equal to the body or same as body. Yet appears as if it is equal to the body. Okay, this is Adhyasa. Atma is independent. When the body dies, Atma doesn't die. When the body is suffering, Atma doesn't suffer. So from this we can see clearly, there is Atma something more than the body. Okay. So Atma superimposed upon the body means there are two things. In spite of myself taking to be body, still I remain untouched. Therefore, Atma in its real nature is Asanga. In Adhyastha nature, it appears to be identified with the body, equal to body, same as body. Appears equal to the body or same as the body. That Atma is same as the body is only a false perception. It is only a misunderstanding because in its real nature, Chaitanya Atma is untouched. Chaitanya Atma always remains untouched. Therefore, see the point, Asangasya Atmanaha. Once we say Adhyasa is a false appearance, then Atma is uninvolved in that. Once we say Atma being identified with the body is false, so in spite of its appearance, Atma remains colorless, untouched by the body. In spite of, see the 2 points, Atma appears to be equal to body, identify with the body. That's why we say we do Vyavahara, we think and understand everything, I am the body. We behave as if I am the body. Because Atma is associated with the body. This is one aspect of it. Another aspect, Atma as an Atma, no association with anything else. It's like a mirror, reflection in the mirror. One side we say the mirror is reflecting. Other side we say, oh, there is nothing in the mirror. What appears also is not touching the mirror because it is not there in the mirror. The flower, the bunch of flowers that are appearing in the mirror may appear, but without being there. They don't exist, they only simply appear. Similarly here, Adhyastha, in the imposed condition, Atma appears to be one with the body. But the Atma in its real nature is untouched. So this is the difference one has to note. In Adhyasa, Atma appears to be identified with the body. So this Atma, that aspect of Atma which is found identified with the body is false. Just because Adhyastha Atma is false, it doesn't mean the real Atma also should be false. This is important. Adhyastha Atma is false. Okay. Adhyastha Atma is false. This doesn't mean that the real Atma is also false. But the real Atma is not. So the real Atma independently exists. So there are two things. One is Atma existing as Atma. Another is it is appearing in the body. Therefore, that Atma which appears identified with the body is a false. We accept it. Because that's how our Anubhava also says. The Atma which appears to be one with the body is a false Atma. But there is an Atma which is not in association with the body, not connected with the body, but exist independently. Now there are no two Atmas. The same Atma, one is misunderstood, another is real. The real Atma is Asanga. But the assumed Atma in the waking state appears as an individual. Okay. Chaitanya Atma appears as connected. In fact, it is not connected, but appears connected. Not connected Atma, that is Asanga. Not connected Atma, Asangatma. Asangatma appears connected, therefore, in spite of appearance, it remains unconnected. This is important. Purupakshi told one thing. I think we'll continue with Swamiji's words. Why interfere? Next question, Purupakshi says, Nanu sarvatha ched asangaha. If Atma is totally detached, asangaha, completely detached, unconnected. Sarvatha asangaha. If Atma is completely detached, Swamiji says, what is that? Sarvatha asangaha. Okay. If Atma is sarvatha asanga, sarvatha means in no way. That's all, no way. It's asanga, remains asanga, that's all. But it is appearing, let it appear. Appearance doesn't prove its reality. This is what the Siddhanti says. Let it appear. See, appearance is a false. Just because it appears to be there in the mirror, do you mean it has entered into mirror? Now you see, I am appearing on the cell phone. Then should I say that I have entered into cell phone? So here the Purupakshi says that if Atma is totally asanga, Atma is really untouched, then katham tarhitasya dehe adhyasaha. Asanga means what? Not associated, not connected. If not detached and unconnected, Atma which is not connected with the Anatma, how can it be superimposed? Dehe adhyasaha. Purupakshi is asking, if Atma is really unconnected, how can it be imposed upon the body? But we see clearly that I am the body, a thought, a notion that I am the body. We see a notion that I am the body, I am here. This notion we have. When we have it, how can you say Atma is not connected? Our Anubhava tells directly Atma is connected with the body. We see very clearly. But you are asserting that Atma is Asanga. Purupakshi is objecting. You are telling Atma is Asanga. But we see Atma is connected. Therefore, Nanu sarvatha chet asangaha katham tarhitasya dehe adhyasa. If totally asangavadare, dehadalli adhyastavu impossible aguttade. Isn't it? They have adhyasa is impossible. Atma's adhyasa upon the anatma is impossible. How? Nached adhyasaha katham va adhyastatma bhavo dehe iti. Dehaha iti. If Atma is totally unconnected, totally detached, it has nothing to do with others like Spatika. You put the Spatika in the various objects. The Spatika looks colored, but Atma remains untouched. The Spatika remains untouched. Similarly, Sarvatha ched asangaha katham tarhi tasya dehadhyasaha. If Atma is totally asanga, katham tarhi dehe adhyasa. How can there be adhyasa? How can it be imposed upon the body? Nached adhyasa. If there is no adhyasa, katham va adhyastatma bhavo dehe iti. And now you say Atma being asanga, there is no adhyasa. If there is no adhyasa, then how come we do have such an experience? Adhyasta atma bhavaha dehe nached adhyasaha katham va adhyastatma bhavo deha iti. If there is no adhyasa, why do we have an experience that I am a body? See, adhyastha atma bhava. If Atma is totally asanga, how do you come to have this experience that I am the body? Atma and body become one. They are not so two things, there is only one. How come we have this experience? If Atma is asanga, you would not have an experience that I am the body, I am the mind. Because Atma, that is consciousness, can never be associated with the mind. Therefore, Atma should always feel I am Atma alone, I am not an individual, I am not a person, I am not good and bad and society, varna, ashrama, I am nothing. If Atma is asanga, he would enjoy the very asangatvam. So how come if Atma is anadhyastha, how come we have this experience? I am the body. How come we have an experience? Purvapakshi says. So this experience proves that Atma is adhyastha upon the body. So that asanga doesn't seem to be true. If it were asanga, Atma would not have allowed. Atma would not lend itself to be imposed. Atma would not lend itself to be superimposed. Okay, upon the body. Why? You are giving a reason. Atma is asanga. Asanga means what? It is impossible. There is no way that you can connect anything with the Atma. Nor Atma can be connected with any anatma. This is what he implies. There is no way that you can connect Atma with the body. There is no way you can connect Atma with the body. This is asanga. Okay. So, sarvatha ched asangaha, katham tarhi dehe adhyasaha, na ched adhyasaha, if there were no adhyasa. If Atma is purely unattached, detached, and adhyasa were not there, then what happened? Then how do we come to have this experience? We have an experience, I am the body, I am here. Do you just deny the experience? Just for sake of your own philosophy, your own idea that Atma is asanga, yaro somebody told you, your guru, or you read some book, Atma is detached. Then the person says, if Atma is detached, how come I have that I am the body? Because the Atma's association with the body, Atma is imposed upon the body, is directly there. Then when we have a direct experience that I am a varna, I am the so-and-so ashrama, I belong to this area, this address and identification. That is an identification. Okay. When that our anubhava says directly that there is a anubhava says directly. Therefore, if you go by anubhava, you have to say that Atma is attached. When it's a real nature, it is detached. So that Atma getting attached is only a simple belief. For younger generations, it is good. Okay, adhyastatma bhavaha dehe iti. How do you say, how do we come to have this anubhava that I am the body? Or the I am the body? If Atma is asanga, sarvatha asanga. Now reply says, satyam adhyastatma bhavaha eva dehaha. It is true. Body comes into existence only during adhyasa. When anatma is superimposed upon the Atma, that means Atma is mistaken as anatma, only during that time body is visible. If that asanga point is removed, body comes back. Satyam, it remains. Okay. So Satyam Adhyast Atma Bhavaha Eva Dehaha. Deha is always imposed. Some color, something is imposed upon Atma. Adhyast Atma Bhavaha Dehe Eva. So this Atma Bhava, that I am, is only imposed upon the body. Tena tu dehe adhyastatmanah eva asatvam syat natu punarasangatmanopi. Since body is bodily superimposed upon the Atma, you can say the body's perception during adhyasa proves that it doesn't exist outside adhyasa. Only during misunderstanding, only in the misunderstanding or adhyasa, only during that time you see the anatma, that is a body. If there is no atma, or if there is no identification, that means body comes into existence only in the wake of adhyasa. That means only in a wrong perception you have a body. Only in a misperception, only in a misunderstanding you have a body. Syat eva sattva. Okay, therefore, body depends purely upon the Atma. It is a misunderstanding of Atma. Therefore, we can say body is mithya. Body doesn't exist without adhyasa. Therefore, outside adhyasa, it doesn't exist. It's easily acceptable, isn't it? Outside adhyasa means what? Without adhyasa, body doesn't exist. Outside adhyasa, because body is a part of, just like dream objects don't exist outside dream. Similarly, waking objects, waking people, waking things don't exist outside the waking consciousness. Outside means independent of. Outside are independent of wakeful consciousness, waking world, waking objects, none of them appear. Therefore, tena tu dehe adhyastatmanah eva asatvam syat. Therefore, we accept deha is false, therefore it doesn't exist. But what about Atma? When Atma is superimposed upon the body, in spite of its superimposition, Atma is Satyam. See the contrast. When body is superimposed upon the Atma, body appears there as if it is in the Atma, otherwise it doesn't exist. That's okay. But Atma, though appears to be identified with the body, appears to be imposed on the body, still it exists independently. That is the difference between Deha and Atma. Deha appears only in the wake of Adhyasa, therefore outside Adhyasa it doesn't exist. Outside Adhyasa it doesn't exist. Whereas Atma, though appears identified with the body, still it has got its own existence. Atma appears in the body. That means in its identification. If Atma appears during identification with the body, it's okay. But that doesn't prove the Atma's independent existence as an Asanga Atma. That's because Atma is unlike the body. Body appears only during superimposition, without superimposition doesn't exist. But Atma exists independent of superimposition. That is Asanga. Asanga means, what does Asanga mean? Asanga means Atma cannot be superimposed. In spite of superimposition, it remains untouched. Atma remains untouched, even if there is superimposition. It may look, I am the body, let it look. But the real Atma remains always untouched. Therefore, सत्यम अध्यास्तात्मभावः एव देहः तेन तु देहे अध्यस्तात्मनः एव असत्वं स्यात् न पुनरसङ्गस्यात्मनि. Therefore, now there are two things. One is Atma appearing in its adhyastha condition upon the body. In its adhyastha condition upon the body, I am the body, there is an I. There is an Atma. But the same Atma is independent of the body, untouched by it. Okay? Untouched means it can never be imposed. But there is an imposition. So there is an imposed Atma and real unimposed Atma. They are not two. They are only two understandings of one Atma. They are not two Atmas. Okay? Therefore, Sya na punaha asangatmanopi. So since Deha is superimposed upon the body, upon the Atma, Atma ceases to exist when there is no Adhyasa. But here, Atma is superimposed upon the body. It is true, yet Atma exists independent of Adhyasa. That is the thing. Atma exists independent of Adhyasa. That's why Atma exists independent of Adhyasa. That's why that Adhyastha Atma, though Adhyastha Atma is false, that the Atma which is identified with the body is a false Atma. Because it is only a thought, it is only notion, it is not true. But the real consciousness, Sakshi Atma, is always existing. This is important. Therefore, Adhyastha Atma to abhasa matramiti tasya asatvepi naksha. So there is the Adhyastha Atma means the false Atma which is found imposed upon the body. That Atma may be false. Let it be false. But that doesn't prove Atma's real existence as a Sakshi, as a pure Chaitanyam also is false. Why? Because that pure Sakshitvam, the Sakshi Atma, is not involved in Adhyasa. In spite of Adhyasa, Atma ever remains untouched. Ever remains untouched. Okay. Nachaivan dehasyapi sattva prasangaha atmanyadhyastad dehad anyasya dehasya anirupanat. Regarding deha also, there is some more point I think we will discuss later. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.